Hi there, I am Amy Pooker. I am a newly certified non-clinical art therapy practitioner, and I also own Eclectica Studio and Gifts, which is a craft and art product line, as well as where I will be working my art therapy practice. So today I am introducing you all to a little art therapy project. Right here, this image, and it doesn't matter. I know there is a signature, so I'll flip it. This is the top and bottom. My signature will always be on the bottom. Doesn't matter. This is a circle, so you can look at it in any way and hang it in any way and enjoy it in any way. So this here is what we are calling a focus circle. It does go under other names like a wheel of intention, a wheel of focus, all sorts of different names. And if you Google any of those names, those are going to lead you to very similar projects to this. More often than not, when you do these projects, they are going to instruct you to use paper and pens, crayons, markers, whatever you want, sometimes even paint, and create your own circle, your own, as I'm like I call it, a focus circle. And you will be creating this 100% from your own skills and your own creativity. I have given you essentially a template. So we've got a starting point, and I have mine really designed for those who really like to have good guidelines and have something to start with from the start. This is also going to be something that you can print off every year, twice a year, 4 times a year, and do again and again and help yourself along the way. Quick little backstory. I did a similar project, and it is, like I said, from an art therapist that offered it, and it was creating your own on sketchbook paper. Draw your own circle, use a paper plate to create the circle, that kind of thing. And I gained so much insight from it. I went through the motions, did what she requested of us, and when it was all said and done, I looked at it, and it brought up, as I call it, the focus circle. It brought up things for me to focus on, and it reminded me of what was important to me in the moment and important to me going forward. So that is what we're going to discover here today. Hopefully in doing this, you will see what you already know, to be honest, because this is coming from yourself, but we're bringing it out. We're bringing out the honesty, and we're bringing out things that may be deeper within, and finding out where we need to go. So what we need to do this is you need to print this off. This is available on Eclectica Studio and Gifts on Facebook specifically. I can, if you want to get on my mailing list, we can do a mailer and get this emailed out to people. We also, other social medias don't work as well with printing off imagery, so it's not as good to put it on Instagram or TikTok, which are the other social sites I have. So we're going to keep with Facebook, and an email would be possible. I may load it up on my website as well so that people can print it off. I'm very free with this. This is not something I'm going to charge you for. The image itself is free to use. So that's the first thing you need. I printed on cardstock, so it's a little bit more, as you can see, a little more rigid. It's got a little bit of noise to it when it snaps, unlike paper. Printer paper is not going to do that. So print that off. The perimeter all the way around the circle, that is ways for you to relax and de-stress. And in a session, an art therapy session, we would probably use that as a getting to know you. You know, I would have the client, I would have the I don't like the word patient for what I do, but I would have the person I'm working with, I would have them start just coloring and use the colors that you're feeling. You really want to dig in, and don't be deliberate. This may not be the prettiest thing you've ever colored. But if you are feeling, and what we're talking about is darker, you may bring out the black. You might bring out a dark blue. You might bring out the colors that speak darkness. If we start talking about something that makes you light and happy, bring out the yellows, bring out the pinks, bring out the reds, the colors of love, the colors of happiness. And we can get into that a whole lot more. I've got a lot of information and knowledge about what the different colors mean in the symbolic nature of them. So that is what we will do with that. You just freely color this part. You're going to do on your own time. We're not going to do that here on the video because it's going to take, specifically if you use gel pens or colored pencils or anything, it's going to take a good chunk of time to color those details. If you use crayons, the thicker markers, it's not going to take as long. But I have completed the outside of one here. That this is one I did as an example with gel pens, and I will do this a little bit so you can see that I use sparklies. I like the sparkle gel pens whenever possible, and I try to do them, as you can also see, very rainbow colored. That was my intention, just to have a pretty picture. That is not what we do in art therapy. In art therapy, it does not matter if it is a pretty picture. What matters is that you are getting something that means something onto that paper. So the first thing we do with this focus circle is, as you see on here, there are 8 wedges of the circle. We need to come up with our 8 categories. And this is, there's probably about 20-25 things that are really simply good categories to use. But this can be individual because there are things to some people that don't matter. Some people don't want love or romance in their life, and some are seeking it actively. And love may be a wedge for some people, but love may also fit in with relationships on someone else's. So some of these categories, we will find ways to combine them, and we will find ways to separate them. And I'm going to give you a list. I've got a good size list here. I've got the ones that I'm going to work with that I've already selected. And then I've got other ones that kind of combine them. So we're going to start off by just mentioning them. So one of the first ones could be self. And I'm going to actually write them on here as we go. So if we want to move the camera down to hit the picture, we're going to start off with, like I said, self. Self can be self-care. Self can be the words mind, body, soul. Those can also be, all areas of their own, mind, body, and soul. So what we're going to start, and I'm using a Sharpie, and we're going to use the areas here that kind of have built a little line for us to write into. So I'm going to just write self. And the next one I'm going to do is, and this is going to constantly move around you because it's a circle, and I want my penmanship to look decent-ish. So relationships. Relationships can be also self, relationships with yourself. It can be family. It can be friends. It can be coworkers. It can be new relationships. It can be old relationships. So there's a lot that can stem in that little wedge. Then the next one, it needs to be work, business, career, any word of that nature. I own my own business, so I'm going to use the word business. Use what applies to you. And again, we're going to talk about other ones. So if business isn't what you have or what you're striving towards, this might combine with something else. The next one I'm going to put is health, which is a big one for me. I am always in a state of needing to improve. So health could also be combined with self, but we're going to keep it separate on mine. Home is one I would like to have here. And as you see, I'm treating this very freely. My penmanship is not beautiful. I am not, stenciling it on there or anything crazy. And I am, I may be an artist, but I don't have calligraphy skills. So after home, money is important for me. We really need to talk about money. And then the next one, because of how I work and the things I do, we're going to put projects. Now, projects can be as I said, in my work or in my business, but projects can also go home projects. So it's whatever is the most important at the moment is where we're going to go with that. And then the final one in my categories is going to be travel. And that's because I have a trip planned. So put that all in. I used a Sharpie to put my words onto the circle. In addition, and I'm just going to quickly describe these to you, I've got a couple that combined. So you can do money and you can do career or business together if you want to combine wedges and be able to get more on here in other categories. Those two together combine very easily because your career is what gives you money. Lifestyle is a word you can use, and that tends to use home and maybe travel combined. Creativity can be a wedge of all of its own. My creativity and most of the creativity I do stems from my business, so it doesn't need a wedge of its own. Love, as I said before, some people are actively seeking it or needing to make it a very large part of their life to maybe fix those relationships. Love on its own could be on here. I personally am going to have love be part of my relationships. Then if you are making a community or activism as a active part of your life, that could be a wedge or two. This year I'm not putting it on there, but that one does speak to me, and I hope that maybe in the future business and money can be combined and I can put activism or community. Both of those are great in there. And then spirituality is another word I have down. Spirituality for me is going to be in my self category, but if you want it on its own, if it is so incredibly important to you at this moment in time, you knock something out. If you don't know of any travel that you have coming up or any travel plans, because it doesn't have to mean like I have a trip this year planned. If it's not this year, we're talking about our 20-year wedding anniversary that we're going to take a trip to New York. That could be my travel, and that is still 3 years away, but there's no reason not to plan for something that's in 3 years. If I start planning that trip now, it's far more likely that I'm going to make it happen. So those are the things that I have down as the categories. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work with these and really gauge them to see where we're at on things. We're going to use additional words to give us a little bit more detail of each category. You can choose multiple words. This is also like if you've not discovered what your word of the year is, this is also a resource that can help you work out and find your word of the year. So I have a secondary word in each category that I'm going to use. And that's the next part I'm going to put down. And so for myself, I have found that what I really need is focus. And I'm going to write that word right here. And what that to me means is I can get a little all over the place with doing too many things. And I can do a lot as long as I keep focused on my brain and on all the activities and not letting my mind, body, and soul get lost. Then here in relationships, what is my magic word for this is balance. I have times where certain aspects or certain people in my life tend to pull a little bit more of my focus. I haven't been able to spend time with friends like I have with business associates or family in the last couple years. And so I want to make a better balance for me and for those relationships. So from business, my word is actually one of my words of the year for this year. It's amplify. And I love this word in that while it's a more of a sound word, because an amplifier is when music gets louder and goes all out there. I like it because I think that it's a good way to say that this year I intend to amplify my business in terms of essentially singing what I do from the rooftops. I am going to let everyone and anyone who will listen to me know what Eclectica does and what I can do for them as an art therapy practitioner. So then the next category is health. The word I've chosen is nourish. So I had like eat well. That to me was not a striking enough word. It wasn't powerful. And so nourish to me is essentially saying I'm going to eat the things and put the things in my body that will do it good. It will give it the ability to fight disease, and it will help me lose the weight I want to lose and take everything to a healthier place. And then the next category, of course, is home. In the past, when I've done my wheel, my home word was declutter. We still have to do that, and I have done some. I have gotten a good start on decluttering, but now I'm gonna right now choose the word organize. So the difference, of course, is declutter is getting rid of the stuff. Organize is finding a place for what remains. And that's what I intend to do at this point in time. Money, the key thing to money is like what we want to do is pay off debts. To put a word such as debt on here would ask for debt. We don't want to ask for debt in these situations. We want to come up with words that have a positive sound. So the word I'm choosing is abundance. So it's a longer word. It's filling in my whole category here, little dots there. But abundance, of course, is a much more positive word. We're asking for an abundance of riches, abundance of finances, an abundance of money to do the things that we want to do. And abundance, while it sounds like we're being greedy, it is not asking for that. It is asking for the things that we need, just the things to be happy and comfortable. Next category is projects. There's no real fancy way to write the projects in here. Like some of these words are very deliberately fancy. I'm going to choose just that my current project that I'm really focusing on is I'm going to make a new line of wellness art kits. They're going to be mental health related. They're going to be spiritual related. They're going to hopefully uplift. And I've got a lot of good ideas happening, and this is the most important project I have going forward. So I put that down. Then on my travel, the magic word for travel for me is literally Arizona. We are planning to go to Arizona hopefully in July. My husband will be going because he goes to chef conventions and I tag along. And this is an area that I've never vacationed to. So we intend to use his conference as an opportunity to go do some things that we want to do in Arizona. And I just enjoy getting out. I work from home as it is, so I can get plenty of work done while he's in his conference, just sitting in our hotel room. So at this point, we have got all the information in here. And what we really want to do is now we're going to use color to drive it home. We're going to use color to take all of these words and find their true meaning. So figure out where we want to start. We might go ahead and start with self because that's the one that I started with. So I'm going to look at my self wedge, self and focus. To me, and there is no right answer to this and there is no wrong answer, but to me, self and focus is a green. It's a shade of green. And that could be as simply as green is my favorite color, that's where I go in self is I think of green. But there, like I said, there's no right or wrong. Some things people will have a more obvious, like I'm trying to think, money. When it comes to money, people will tend to think of greens and golds because those are green is the color of the dollar bill and gold is the color of coins. So that's where they will go. But a lot of these other categories, it's about how you take it. It's about how you like it. At this point, you know, I've got everything colored on the outside. So I'm going to use these markers. I have a set of really nice markers I bought on a whim. And so they're double-ended. And I'm going to use these markers to color in the next step. So the next step is we're going to figure out, and I'm going to also grab a pencil actually. So I grabbed the pencil because we're going to figure out our numbers. We're going to talk about, like, for myself and my focus and how I'm doing and how I'm achieving things on this. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? So for my focus on self, I'm doing pretty well. I'm not excelling. 10 would be that I'm there. And if I were at a 10, it really wouldn't need to be on my wheel. I think on focus, I'm going to put myself at about a 5. So that's going to be right about here in the halfway zone. And then if you want to figure out all your numbers first, that's fine. Or I figured out my 5. I'm going to put a line right here where the 5 would be. Then from here, you have your choice. If you want to color this in solid, you can color this wedge in solid. Or if you want to just like put some fun lines in the area to make it pretty, put some lines the other direction, put some that way. Just, we're filling in this space. We want the color represented as well as we can. And we want to read that. We want to know that it's the 5. It's not a bad thing to come back in, and I'm going to go with my Sharpie over it and put a 5. That way we know that that's where I'm at. Then the next one, put away your color. Don't let that color dictate you, and do everything you can to not repeat colors if at all possible. But the next thing, we're talking about balancing relationships. And so in my mind, my balance of relationships, I'm not so great on. I'm not in the, you know, I do have color on there, but I'm really thinking I might only be about we're going to call it a 3. So I'm going to put a line here to kind of see where the 3 would land. And I'm going to go purple. No, that's gray. We don't want gray. That looks like it was purple from upside down. We want purple. So this purple here is my relationships purple. So, and the balance of them. We're going to do the line there. And we're going to color in however we choose to. Just lines and stripes and all sorts of wild color. This should be colorful and bright. This should not coordinate. This is not deliberate. This is about what you're feeling. So right there, I've got my relationships in balance, putting that one away. And then I'm going to grab my Sharpie and I'm going to put the 3. So we go on and do this through all of it. Business, amplify my business. I am reading that as probably, I'm really liking the idea of the gold. That's almost where I see money. So we're going to go amplify business. I'm getting a good start on that. I've gotten out there. I've been talking to people. I've been getting new paint sessions scheduled, new ideas happening. So I'm getting a good start, but I'm nowhere near where I want to be. So I would say maybe a 4. And that right there, I'm going to put the line there, color it in. Do all my little lines. While you're doing this, this is not a bad time to really be in touch with yourself musically. I would play some soft music or some music that really speaks to you. If you are in love, I'm a Broadway person. I would play some Broadway music, or some relaxing spa music. There's a lot of options out there, even like some of the sounds that you would hear on a sound machine. You know, they've got the sound of thunder and lightning and storms and you know, like the rainforests and things like that. Some of those can be so nicely relaxing, and they really help you get in tune with what we're trying to do here, that it's a good idea to utilize those kinds of things. So I would play music. I don't do it through the videos because of copyright reasons. So right there, we've got the gold. Let's see, health. Health for me, I'm seeing in good health, like red. In good health, you have good healthy blood flowing through. So I'm seeing red. And nourished, my word is about the food. That again could be in a green category because I'm eating a lot of greens. When it comes to the health and nourishment, I have been doing pretty well. I have lost some weight. I'm working pretty well on this. I've got a good start. But I don't think I'm anywhere past a 5, maybe not even there. I may be closer to the 4. So we're going to actually go with a 4 on this. And so with that, I just bring that line over because right next to it is a 4. And we're going to do the same thing. Just put some lines in here. We can color it solid if we choose. I think I said that. But I'm just trying to do some sort of a interesting pattern, so not everything looks the same. It's making it a little artistic. So there we go. We've got my nourish, and that is going to be another 4. And then we've got for home, organize. Let's go with, I feel like blue, like this shade of blue. Home and organize, I'm not doing as well as I would like to think. I'm really probably only in a 3. So we're going to do right there. And when you think of these things, so what does that mean? I'm only in a 3. Does that mean nothing is organized and I've just been working on selling things off? Yeah, primarily. I also had a bad cold a few weeks back, and my house is in a little bit more disarray than I normally find it. And then on top of that, I had a few events that I had to pack up things and go outside the house to do these paint sessions and workshops. And whenever that happens, there's like bins sitting throughout my house that I have to put back into my house. So I would even feel better if I got some of those little things dealt with. But for now, as an organized person, we're going to call myself at a 3. Money and abundance. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm in a really bad number here. I hate to, you can't do negatives. You can't do, we do have income coming in, so we can't look at it like negative. But I'm going to put, I think, at a 2. We're going to call it a 2. And so that just shows you that that is definitely one of the categories we need to work strongest at, is just getting us into a better and more clear situation on how we are financially. And again, I'm just doing a very similar covering the picture here. And with abundance, we are doing a 2. So I've got 2 more areas. We're almost there, guys. I hope this is helping you and giving you some good direction on some ideas here. So my projects, my art kits, I just literally became a certified art therapy practitioner 2 days ago. So it's brand new. I have the ideas written down on some, but I have not got the execution. I do have people wanting to purchase almost immediately those. So this is definitely a large priority, because success in the art kits will bring success within abundance and within my business, and the stress levels and focus on self. So you see, everything is so interconnected. So we're really, while we're not in bad shape, we're not in terrible shape, we're in bad enough shape on this that I don't want the number to be high. That wouldn't be appropriate. We're going to go with a 3. I think that once we've got some made, we're going to hit 5. And once we start getting some sold, we might be in the 7s. And then once I have it to where they're running like a well-oiled machine on how I'm constructing and coming up with new ideas on these really great art kits, that's going to put you into a 9 and a 10. And that's where my project will switch to something else on here. And so we're going to just do right here in this orange, we're going to call it a 3. And as I've said before, the colors don't have to mean anything. They just have to be what you're feeling. And some of these, for me specifically, I'm pretty obvious, you know. The color of business, it turned out a little bit brown, but it was a golder marker. And the colors of abundance and money was a green. I'm pretty obvious about some things, but the reason I picked the orange for the art kits, don't know. It just was the right answer. And then the last one is travel to Arizona. And so Arizona is a desert area. And I think for me, while it's so easy to really talk about, you know, browns and things like that, I see Arizona as being pink. And I think that the reason I see Arizona as being pink and my travel as being pink is I'm seeing the beautiful cactus flowers. And those are some really bright, beautiful colors. So we're going to go with that. And I think that when it comes to Arizona, for me, and on doing this project here, it's about a 50-50 shot on if I get to go. If we are in a good state financially, so with the abundance, and again, it would be within the business. If we are in a good place where we financially feel it's not being reckless, I will go. We can make these trips very cost effective. I bring food. I don't go and eat out when he's in his seminars and things like that. I bring protein shakes and I bring vegetables. So I'm even really helping myself. I'm being very good. But again, we don't want to be reckless in this. And I think at this moment, like I said, it's a 50-50 shot, which would kind of indicate around a 5. But I still feel it's a low 50-50. So I'm going to actually say it more of a 4. We're going to talk about the likeliness of me going to Arizona and having this vacation is a 4. There's a couple other things, and you know, there's family things to deal with. And so those might take priority over this trip, but we're going to still try. And we have a little bit of time to make decisions. It's not like it's tomorrow. And so we're going with a 4. And right here, I color in that cactus pink, cactus flower pink. And then we'll finish it off with putting in the letter or the number 4. So what we do to read what we have just completed. We just finished. And I think it looks very pretty. I think that even finishing out all those little elements, it didn't make my old design ugly or anything. It's the numbers that are the lowest. So the 2 in the money and abundance category, that is what I need to work on the most. That is what is the most important in my life. And there is no surprise to that for me right now. Then we can look at the 3s. So the projects, the art kits, completing those. and then getting the balance on my relationships. Those are the next categories. Then I've got a lot of things in the fours, and the only thing I have in a five that is even as high as a five, nothing else is that high, is myself. I feel like I am getting to be in a good mental state for focus and clarity. And that is going to help to where all these other things are going to fill. The goal in the end is we're going to fill these circles up. And while there are one or two or three to start, in the end, we want them at the nines and tens. So this is what we've got here. This is the circle project. You can complete this as often as you want. I wouldn't do it more than once a month because things aren't going to change that quickly. But if you have any major changes in life, any major changes in your career or in projects you're doing, I did this once, probably about 6 months ago, and this is completely different than it was 6 months ago. It definitely was not calling for me to really focus on money and abundance at that time. It was calling for a focus on projects, which is still a one that I really need to focus on a lot. But I was wanting to complete a coloring book at that point in time. And even that isn't even my priority anymore. I've come up with new priorities. So here we are. We've got this complete. And I also say that the best thing to do is, like, I'm going to put this either in like a sleeve or a frame, and I'm going to put it over here in my office so that it's just a good reminder. And because we have used good quality paper and good quality products on it, it's a beautiful thing that you can put on display. It's not intended to be beautiful. It just happened to be that. Last couple things I want to just mention real quick before we move on. Please feel free to give me a look on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. We also do TikTok, and then here we are on YouTube today. Take a look at these and give them all some likes, give them some follows, and be sure to check out the website, which is allthingseclectica.com. I have products as well as information on there, and I'd love to hear what you think of all this, and take a look at the new things that we're going to be. The next thing I'm going to really announce within my social media is what 2024 is going to be for Eclectica, and I'm really excited to put that out there and get some feedback. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I look forward to hearing from you.